Here we go. Now Mr. Haas won't miss anything today.
Alright, hi, my name is Nick, and I'm a representative for Crucial. Crucial, the global brand of Micron technology, founded in 1978, is the largest memory and flash storage manufacturers in the world. We make, of course, DRAMs and SSDs for your finest needs, and we also offer more than 250,000 upgrades for more than 50,000 systems. Our headquarters is in Boise, Idaho. Here's a picture of the headquarters.
Does Micron still make PCs? It's a yes or no answer for an employee of Micron. We used to have, when I was first here, we had a large number of Micron PCs, but I haven't seen like, I don't know, 2 years. They got out of the PC business. Mr. Moreland's looking that up right now, so you can buy a Micron PC. Go ahead.
Here's our business motherboard. It's mainly for business use. It takes 4 SATA 2s, and we need at least a 200 to 300 gigabyte SSD.
Can we go back on? Yes, sir. Show us where the SATA ports are. That's what we're going to be connecting your hard drive to. Okay, just, I couldn't see the 25 seconds.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, this one, actually,
Here's our SSD.
what does MLC stand for? The whole idea of a research project is to look up things, okay? Not just to go, found 5 slides, done! Ah! Okay, so it's a SATA 2, we know what that means, that's the transfer speed. But MLC is the way it writes and saves on a solid state drive. But you are going to report back to us at the end of the class today once you get a chance to sit down and tell us what MLC stands for. Why MLC is good or bad. Is that the best write technology or is it old write technology? We don't know. Anybody else doing SSDs? No?
Yes.
Maybe Levi will be able to fill us in on what the different write technologies are on SSDs because it matters. Especially when we're looking at server grade hard or SSDs and larger SSDs. We want to be able to write longer. What kind of write technology do we want to have on our SSD for optimal? You could have a list of these are the 3 write technologies. And this is what this one means, this one's that, I'm sure it's right, Wikipedia, you can grab it, put it right in a slide, so that you wouldn't have to have it memorized, but you would be able to answer the question, so that we would know, hey, if we're trying to just buy one cheap, maybe this way is fine, but if we're trying to buy one for a server, maybe this would be better. Okay.
Specifications is capacity is 256 gigabytes, SATA 2. Max read is up to 230 megabits per second.
Now you chose SATA 2 just because the motherboard was SATA 2, so you didn't need a better one than SATA 2. Okay. And this one really only has SATA 2 speed? That surprises me that SSD that's being sold right now will only SATA 2.
Its max amount of hours is at least 1.2 million. 4 gigabyte.
Is that what that means? What does MTBF stand for?
I'm pretty sure.
The M stands for. Anyone?
Honestly.
I went over this. Mean time before failure. It's a hypothetical perfect condition number which gives you a warm fuzzy that it could last how many years? How many years is that? Over 100. We'll just go with the easiest, like 118, 1.2 million. So it's saying that in a perfect world, it could last 1.2 million hours, but it really doesn't have that many reads and writes. So I'm not sure what an MTBF of 100 years could possibly be. But anyway.
Its 4 gigabyte random read is up to 10,000 IOPS. Its random write is up to 4,000 IOPS. It has a 3-year warranty on it, and its form factor is 2.5. For a nice price of $208.45, you can have this SSD.
Okay, so with yours, we're looking at slightly less than $1 per gig. $208 for 256. What's that? 0.9. Doing math in my head, which is not very accurate. What do we get that at Levi on your laptop. 256 divided by 208 is? I'm doing that wrong. 208 divided by 256 is? Come on, calculator app. Give me my phone. You gotta know how to bring up the, oh, he's got the calculator up. He's just a slow bouncer. What is it? 0.8125. So it's 81 cents per gig for this one. And I bring that up because we're going to talk about the prices. That's our best comparison, how much per gig. Let's go ahead and click on the Newegg link. It is SATA 2. See, I wasn't going to believe it. Okay, let's go down to the specifications. It's got the Phison controller. I don't know what that means either. And if I ask you, you won't either because you didn't know what else it was either. So how would you know what the Phison controller? Did you put that read-write speed down in there at 230 megabytes per second? Because I did not see that. Was it on the slide? Oh, okay. I saw the IOPS, but I didn't see the
It
read.
was,
Okay. Go ahead and go back to your PowerPoint. Back one slide. Let me see that. Let me see that number. Back. Where? Oh, I see. You got the read.
I got the read,
You didn't
but-
have the write.
yeah.
Okay. Anyone have any questions?
any questions?
Look, stand here. I just put that on there. Did you look? Did you stand? Look at this. Yes. Did we hear you? Yes. I'll give you full points for that. Nice job overall, but you're going to sit down and edit your PowerPoint and give us a slide on what the different write technologies are. Wow, Mr. Who's ready? Who's going? Making some changes. So, Mr. Moreland, where's your sheet filled out for me? Subject. Why does nobody put the subject on? Oh, you did. What's your subject? Why do I have to fill this out, Moreland? Block 01, subject. Large SSD, right? Okay, fills that up. Who's that a picture of? Anyone that we know? Or
It's you.
he's me.
And it's 10 years.
Close your eyes, play. Okay. Give me 1 second while I get this prepared for a sysprep. Go ahead and pause the video for a second. Hit the pause button on the thing.
My name is Levi Moreland. I'm presenting Intel SSD 6 gig Z3 SSD internal 400 gig Intel. Intel is an American multinational corporation headquartered in Santa Clara, California. Integrated Electronics is how it got its name. INTEL. Intel Corporation was founded on July 18, 1968. We make Bluetooth chips, flash memory, microprocessors, motherboard, network interface cards, phones, 106,700 employees as of 2013. That's a link.
You know what their name used to be? Just remember,
contact. So, this is their address and their mailing address and their phone.
Okay, let's see if they answer. What's the number?
408-765.
What?
408-765-8080.
Didn't even give us a real number, did you?
I did. You have to put the area thing.
I did. I put it in there. I put a 1 in there. Let's try it again.
408-765-8080.
Following Intel, please select from the following options.
All right. Okay. Just checking to see if you gave us a real number. Go ahead. We won't talk to your bosses right now. We'll call them afterwards.
This is my motherboard. The GA H97M D3H. It has SATA 6 gigabyte.
Very
SATA
clear
3.
picture for us to be able to see things.
Well-
How do you feel about that,
I had to copy and paste
Billy?
it. I
Copy and paste it from like
my other
an iPhone,
PowerPoint.
iPhone 1, because iPhone 5 would have better. So you couldn't have Googled a better one and gotten us a little clearer picture?
No, well this is like a total that like even the theme is different because I had to copy and paste the slide picture.
Right.
So
So you were unable to make changes.
it's like a really bad whole slide.
Fuzzy. We'll just call it fuzzy. Information good, picture bad. Because I can't ask you to point out the SATA ports on there because I can't even focus on them. Actually, I can kind of see more on it. Yeah, that's because I told you the other day. Hold on, go back. Why do you have the memory on there? The memory type. I only cared about the hard drive.
Well, I took the slide that included the SATA
And couldn't edit it.
from the. No, I copy and pasted a picture of the slide.
Of this slide, so
Yeah.
you couldn't edit it. But you could have copied it, just the slide you did. Just Control-C.
No, I did. That's what I did. I did that, but I couldn't edit it because it was a picture.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, 350 gigabyte plus SSD hard drive. I found a good SSD for a gamer motherboard or business motherboard. It has 350 gigabyte plus storage. Solid state drive, MLC and SCL is.
Which one does it use?
It uses an MLC.
What's the difference?
Well, the MLC is less reliable and somewhat slower than the C.
So we want SCL
Yeah,
if we could find it for a good price.
but I have MLC.
We have MLC. MLC is the kind of the original one. So SCL is the new single level cell. Okay. So you're right on. From your current research that you've done in the last 5 minutes? Yes. SCL. There was another one, but it must not be on there. Is there another one? From your, what you were reading? There was another one. What? Or you only thought you'd tell us about 2?
Well, when it's compared, you only compare.
So it's saying SLC is better.
SLC says, well, MLC is less and slower reliable.
It's both less reliable and slow.
It was both.
So we went, what? Lower approach using MLC, which is slower and less reliable than single level cell, which can be mitigated first by the internal design structure of the SSD, such as interleaving changes to your writing algorithms, and higher level over provisioning. Should have left the DMD on, shouldn't have. Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Poole, this is Sharon Cobb. We're having issues with the laptop not connecting to the server.
I don't know what that means. Are you not able to log on? Is that what you're saying? Okay, I can't. I'm in the middle of PowerPoint presentations with my class right now. So if you could just put in a work order, well, which laptops are they? Okay, it's the laptops, not the netbooks. That's all I know. Okay. And you've tried restarting, and it still doesn't have. Yeah, it's your Wi-Fi. There's really, I mean, I told Jeff that there's really nothing I can do until we get the new Wi-Fi in over there. So, okay. Bye. Okay, so we don't want MLC is what we just learned from what we just talked about. We want SLC. Although, problems with MLC can be mitigated by a good controller. Yes? Okay. Which I'm going to assume that the higher end SSD makers have a better controller. Can't believe Intel wouldn't. But that's why when we read reviews on Newegg before we buy stuff, if it's got 1 or 2 or even 3, we read through and people say stuff fails all the time, I would highly recommend avoiding that SSD. I prefer to use, for anything that's important, I use Samsung or Intel drives, and that's a personal preference. But for students, I use whatever is the cheapest. Okay, go ahead.
The Intel DC S37. 400 gigabyte SSD, 2.5 standard inch form. Sequential read with 500 megabit. Sequential write 460. MTBF has a 5-year warranty. Random read.
There's a blank space in that sentence. The TBF isn't. Okay.
So
how does your read-write speed compare to the previous one that we just saw? You paid attention? How fast was his read-write speed? I even drew emphasis on it. We had to go back and look at it again.
I was researching that one thing.
Gotcha. The right technology. And his was a 230, okay? Which kind of makes sense, right? His was a SATA 2. SATA 3 is twice as fast, so you would assume that the read and write speed would be somewhere around twice as fast too, which it was. I don't remember what his IOPS were. Actually, I do. It was like in the 10,000 range, right? Okay, so a lot faster when we stepped up in drive. So what I'm seeing right now is, wow, we got not a whole lot for our buck from the Crucial department today. So let's see how much it costs. Our next question. Oh, we got more. Latency.
Latency, read and write.
What does that cool symbol with an S mean?
It means.
Don't point at me. What does it mean? What kind of seconds? It's some kind of seconds. That's what the S stands for.
Nanosecond. Millisecond.
It's not millisecond.
Nanosecond.
Could be nanosecond. I'm not sure. Is that what it is? I don't know.
I
don't know. It's not my slide. It's your
I
slide.
even looked it up. I just forgot. Because it was like.
1/1,000,000th of a second.
Something like
So it's an inconsequential number that means nothing on the board when you can't give us a reference. Billy would never do that on his presentation. Okay, go ahead.
that. Okay. 6 gigabyte connector. Vibration. Shock.
What's GRMS stand for? I actually don't know. That's why I'm asking you. You're supposed to have the answer to this question for me. You put it on your slide. Why would you put an acronym on your slide that you like? You know I'm gonna ask, don't you?
Well, like.
Right? Haven't I asked? How many PowerPoints have we done? Let's see. We've done motherboard, memory, CPU. Is that all? We've only done 3? Yeah, so you've done 3. Have I not asked you every single time, or someone near you, what acronyms mean when you put them up? Yes, Mr. Poole, you always ask us that. Why would you put them up without the name of the acronym down at the bottom? I don't know. It's almost crazy not to put it right down at the bottom. So then I wouldn't even ask. I'd be like, oh, GRMS stands for G's. I don't know what's GRMS stand for. Did you find it?
Well,
Gale Ranch Middle School. I don't think that's it.
Well, same
We have
time.
another one? Yeah, put more on your search. Don't just put GRMS, put SSD vibration. Let's see if we got SanDisk Extreme, GRMS. If we go to it, what's it say? Oh, SanDisk. We'll let Nick rescue you on that one. Shock is, what is that? 1000 G/0.5 m second. What's that mean? I do know what that means. Do you know what that means? It means it can take 1000 Gs per half second. That's pretty, you'd be dead, by the way, at about 20 Gs per half second. Your insides would turn to jelly. Peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time, Levi's jelly time. That is a lot of G's. In other words, it can stand forces of 1,000 times its own weight per half second, per half millisecond. That is crazy. Okay, go ahead. It's MLC. We know what that is. Excel spreadsheet. I don't know, what's that for?
It includes all the information.
All those numbers that I don't know the definition of. Okay, next slide. We're ready. Only $781.
I knew it.
Do the math, Nick. We got 400. I'm sorry, 781 divided by 400 would be
What was the number?
781. I just used 782. 782 divided by 400. 1.962. $1.96 per gig. So it's obviously more expensive than Intel by over a power of 2, over twice as expensive from Intel. Although we got over twice the performance. Now the question is for Billy, what's wrong with this picture, Billy?
Well, you see, the 200 gigabyte SSD is way more popular. So I can only find pictures of the 200.
Really? Are you gonna put us to that challenge? Can you find a picture of the 400 gigabyte? You don't think anybody
I
can
think
find it on a quick Google search?
I think I could challenge.
Oh my gosh, this resolution is crazy. Can you even read this screen? Oops, I just closed one instead of opened one because I couldn't read it. 400 gigabyte SSD. Is that actually the name of it? The DC3700?
S37, yeah.
S3700. Enter. Images. That was very hard to find. It was the fourth image over. I had to go past the first one. In order to get
It's
to the fourth
400?
one. Yep, 400.
No.
I'm not lying. Does that say 400 right there? Of course, it's hard to read because it's got the resolution.
Yeah,
so
it
small.
is 400. I just can't read it.
Well, I mean, I understand how that can be hard to look through all those options on the screen to try to find the right one. That is over, I mean, it's because there's, we'll get on here and you can see a bigger one. What's this one right here? Yeah, that's 800. There's a lot of pictures of 800s. Of course, you could do the other side that doesn't even show the number and we wouldn't have known, right? If you would have done this one, that would have been known we had the wrong picture. Had a picture of Levi being a hand model. Okay, anyway, sorry.
Mr. Harrison, the football.
Who?
Mr. Harrison.
Mr. Harrison, like Mr. Mike Harrison, the math teacher?
Yeah.
He was a foot model for what?
Yeah, that's what
Okay, I have to ask the next block. Continue on. $1.96 a gig. Do we have any questions? We've asked a lot of questions. We're ready for Mr. Landman. Go back a slide. Go forward a slide. Go back a slide. Forward a slide. Do you have a single transition? How long does that take?
Yeah, I do have transitions.
Let me see. Show me a transition, because I didn't see any transitions on your whole PowerPoint. That is custom animation, not a transition, by the way. That is a transition. Why didn't you just apply it to the whole thing? You got two
Because
transitions?
it's too generic.
Just hit apply to all.
Because like the whole time you're like.
So it's
oh.
not generic to have no transition, and which is basically the same transition every time with nothing, or to have a transition which is required down here under PowerPoint elements. We are taking off a point on that one. We can read everything. So where's our works cited? Did I see it and not focus, or we did? Oh, we didn't get to that slide. Is that a works cited? It does not look like a works cited. It looks like a link.
It's a works cited.
No, it isn't. You don't just
That's
have
a link with the
works-
works cited. A link with the works cited.
The link doesn't go first. Did you use EasyBib or anything, or you just like, nah, I'm gonna use whatever.
No,
We don't use MLA here. We use LMA.
No, I just looked at
Levi Moreland's. What would they stand for?
I just looked at the address and then typed all that up. So.
Yeah, that's not how it works. Use EasyBib, plop it in there, and let it make your nice little MLA citation for you correctly.
Yeah. It's,
And the C should be capitalized and cited. You are done, sir. Sometimes capital guidelines are followed, and some MLSs get in there. Sure. Easiest points on the page.
I had
Transition.
I
You
had
got a transition.
No,
That's
I
why
had
you don't lose
several.
them all.
I had several.
It doesn't. I didn't give you 0 for no slide transitions. That's what a 0 is.
I had several.
This is some slide transitions in custom. You were
I
a
had,
some.
I had,
You were not an all.
you got to put all on all.
Yeah, I want slide transitions on every slide because it's here. How hard is it? I like this one. Apply to all. Done. Boop. You're saying I didn't catch you before? I can go back and change those grades. You'd like me to. Okay. We're ready for Mr. Landman.
By the way, before I start, that is an awful.
Seagate's an awful company?
Yeah. Every chart that I see.
He's trying to get fired. I work for an awful company. For a
Look,
healthcare
I said
firm.
before I start,
Okay, why?
every chart that I found was like the failure rates or whatever. Mine was just like sky high. Like I could not find anything to stabilize.
Okay. You mean on specific hard drives? We have a lot of Seagate hard drives.
Yeah.
He's not making
I'm
me,
just
he's
talking
not
about.
giving me a warm fuzzy. What?
I'm just talking about.
Okay.
Let's start. I'm from Seagate. I'm Billy. Obviously,
They're the biggest one though. They're the
in
boss.
Western Digital.
Huh?
They're in Western Digital.
Aren't they bigger than Western Digital?
No, they're like. Well, all it said was they're the leaders.
They're the two
along
biggest.
with
Yeah.
it was originated in 1978 as Sugar Technology. Seagate is incorporated in Dublin, Ireland, and its executive office is in Cupertino.
Did not know they were from Ireland. They're relying on the luck of the Irish to keep their hard drives spinning.
Seagate's first product released in 1980. Today, Seagate, along with Western Digital, leads the HDD. The headquarters in the executive office.
I want to work for that because I want that Ireland.
My home PC motherboard was inside 978 and it has 683. That was a slide that
Okay.
lost.
I can focus.
Oh, you seen them? The Seagate Barracuda grew. Seagate Barracuda Green, 1.5 terabyte, 5900 RPM, 64 cache, latency of 4, capacity of 1397. My average write time came out it's not very good. Transfer rate 6. Warranty 2 years, labor and parts.
Yeah, see, there's not a really great one-to-one comparison because they put them in different what's the word I'm looking for?
something else that we had looked into.
IOPS is only for solid states, so you wouldn't find operations per second because it's kind of a number how because it can read and write everywhere at one time, right? Whereas a solid or a spinning drive only reads and writes where the head is. Okay, so see that shows read write time in megabytes per second, and there's no like straight number that goes between. However, that's saying how long it takes to get to write something. You can kind of maybe figure it out if we change it from, I don't know. They're just, I mean, we know it's way faster, right, for a solid state, but if they had it in the same same format, right? That's not the word I was looking for, but that works. In the same format, that would be an easy way to one-to-one go, oh, well, this is how much faster, because transfer rate doesn't really tell us anything, right? If there's SATA 3 and there's SATA 3, it's saying the max it could transfer things out are 6 gigabits per second. But they're both that, right? That's saying if the drive could pull the data, which would have to be defragmented to even be close, right? And then it would be able to transfer it at the same speed, but it can't. It doesn't have anywhere close to the same read speed, but that's because they're not giving it the same format. Thank you, Mr. Warner, for that. We're still listening to the head's trying to find a good format looks like. Okay, 259.89 for 1.5 terabytes. So we need to divide 159.89 by 1500. Who's got a calculator? Yep. 0.1. So we're paying 10 cents. We could round say 11 cents a gig for a regular drive versus when we got Levi's of $1.96 per gig. So Levi's is doing rounding again, 15 times more expensive per gig. Which is why you have to do that. Let's do that. Let's see. 1.96 divided by 1.1. Divided by 1.1. I did that math wrong. Hold on. Let's say 1 point. Say do 0.11 divided by 1.96. So it is. That's wrong too. So it would be 1.96 divided by 0.11. Yeah, I said 15 times. It's 14.5 times. It's pretty good rough math. So over 14 times more expensive per gig for a solid state drive. So when you do solid state, you really have to think of where you need it and whether it's worth the additional cost for the performance. Obviously for data, solid state drives don't make sense because you run out of reads and writes on them. But for something like an operating system and for programs, solid state drives make total sense. So in a perfect system, to me, you have a mix of both. You know, why would you save your pictures on a solid state drive? Why would you save your video on a solid state drive? It doesn't need to load that fast, but programs do if you're looking for faster speed. Okay, so we've got the most amount of cache any of them that I saw had. I know we did see some that had 128 meg, but those were very limited. We've got a slower RPM on this one, and the reason it's slower RPM is why. Why is it 5900 instead of 72? Anybody know? 10,000? That's what the green's about. The green drive is their energy efficient drive.
Yeah, that's what happened.
So that's why it's slower, because it's supposed to be more energy efficient, use less power, blah.
This CA record green carries an outstanding 1.5 terabytes. It is a great performance and eco-friendly digital storage. Not only is it a good buy for the price and storage, but you can buy a great hard drive from one of the world's leaders.
So when you say you saw bad performance, you mean on the bad reviews, or where did you see bad
It
performance?
was like some of the reviews was like it's good, and some of them were like it's bad. Like there's no some people was like there's no pros, and have a whole list of just cons, and some people were like oh but it's good, but I thought owned it for.
Well, you know, the thing is, there's only two opinions, right? Either the drive fails and you're going to give it a 1, or it doesn't fail and you're going to give it a 5.
Right.
There's really no in between, and that's why hard drive ratings are hard to go by, because if only 2 of you guys got hard drives and Levi's failed and Nick's worked, it's going to get a, you're going to look at the reviews and say, oh, well, half the time they fail. But then, does everybody do a review? No, I rarely review stuff, right? When do you review? You review when you're pissed off and it failed, right? I just did an Amazon review the other day, the first Amazon review I've done ever on the Cat 5 clips I bought from Amazon. Worst Cat 5 clips I've ever used. I've made thousands of Cat 5 cables. I had to go on and review it because I don't want anybody else to ever buy those Cat 5 connectors. The weird thing is, they're supposedly the same connectors that I bought the time before, they're not. So, they change what they do. But, so you kind of have to take those things and especially reviews, with a small grain of salt. And you can find industry reviews instead. If you go and sit in hard drive reviews, best hard drives, Google that kind of stuff, and you find an independent review site like a PC World or a PC Magazine or some magazine that actually does statistical data, not just Levi's pissed off. I lost all my stuff, this drive sucks, kind of thing. And I'm not saying I discount new reviews, I don't. I look at them too. Because if a whole bunch of people have said it fails, well, obviously it does fail sometimes. So, anyway. Any questions for our spinny fellow? See how that works cited starts with the title and ends with the link? That's what a works cited is supposed to look like. Is it alphabetical order? Is it? Yep. It is. S comes before T. Nobody has got any questions. Do we have transitions on all those, Levi? I think we did. I saw transitions. It didn't stick out that we didn't have transitions, so therefore we must have had transitions. Yes? Yes, no? Okay, so I know Mr. Haas isn't here today, so we're going to continue talking about hard drives since we're done with your guys' presentations. Not done with the blogs. Anybody having any blog issues? That they can't get anything to work like you had last time, or is it good now? Figuring out how to get your blog to work. Okay. So we already talked about the. I don't have a pen because I gave it to Mrs. Worley because her thing wasn't working, but I got her pen. We'll see if her pen works or not. She says it skips all the time. Yep, it's not her pen. There was no skipping there, was there? Okay, so we talked about hard drives, and we got 2 major category. We've got only one connection type, and that's SATA. And then when we look at SATA, we've got 1, 2, and 3, and obviously everything you guys looked at was 2 and 3. And we saw today how much faster the SATA 3 can be over SATA 2. And we know it says 6, 3, and it says 1.5 gigabits per second, okay? So obviously that's double. Doesn't necessarily mean it's totally double though, because in the case of a traditional hard drive, I think it's supposed to say traditional, that to me is kind of a misnomer, because it can't really transfer that fast. It can't get the data to it that fast. When I'm looking at SATA 3, I definitely want SATA 3 on a solid state drive because it really can get the data there that fast. But whether or not you need that much faster speed on a traditional spinny drive, especially one like Billy just presented to us, it's only spinning at 5900, I question whether SATA 3 actually means anything on that drive. I don't know. I mean, maybe it does, because obviously it's capable of twice the speed, But I would find it really, really hard to say that I actually can read and transfer the data at that rate ever, because I don't know that I can pull it off the drive at that rate ever. Okay? So our hard drives hold different stuff. The most important one is the operating system, and then we've got programs, and we got data. If I'm going to invest in an SSD, I'm doing it for that, okay? Because I want it to be able to, the operating system to be able to load up those things the CPU and the motherboard to load up those things as quickly as possible, so I get instantaneous response, right? The data depends. If I have a limited amount of data that's all going to fit on the solid state drive, obviously there's no reason to put it in two, and that's the case of the laptops. And hopefully you guys save your stuff on H drive all the time, because if something goes wrong with that solid state drive, our recourse is to wipe the whole thing and just reprogram it. So hopefully at least once a week you guys make a conscious decision to make sure your stuff is over there. If not, saving it there all the time. And I understand why you would want to save it there all the time, because you're taking it home, right? If you're actively working on this PowerPoint project and it's on the H drive and you don't have the internet, that would stink. All of a sudden you're home going, oh, crap, should have put it there. But when you're here at school, I would just move them over and overwrite the stuff on the H drive all the time, because you won't have that stuff backed up, because SSDs aren't as reliable as a traditional drive. And I say that especially when I'm talking about the low-cost SSDs, which is what you've got in your computer. The one that's running Moodle is a solid-state drive, and it's a solid-state drive in Moodle just for sheer want of speed, so no one ever waits for anything with Moodle. And that's got the fastest solid-state industry drive we could find. That one is a, let's see if I can find it, Samsung 500 gigabyte SSD. There's a couple that are going to come up here. There's there's two different level Evo ones. One of them has a 10-year warranty, which is the one that we have. This is the lower priced one. TLC, that's the other one that I was trying to remember. There's TLC too. I think TLC is the one that's more reliable for stuff. I don't think this is the one we got with the 10-year warranty. I'm trying to remember what the one was. This one has a shorter warranty. Yeah, this one only has a 3-year warranty. Samsung 840 something. It's the Pro. That's what it is. You can see it's noticeably more expensive, but I think this is the one that we got that has the 10-year warranty. And on our virtual drive, really we could with the same thing. I think this is the one. Nope, that's still the 3-year. No, I don't want to waste a lot of time looking for it. The one we got is a 10-year warranty. And on a virtual system, it's really hard to divide these things up, because we really would be able to, with Moodle, divide those things up. But the sheer amount of data that's in Moodle in the database makes it so that we want to include that on the SSD anyway. Okay. So as you guys are personally going to make choices, you need to think about this. My computer at home has a moderate-sized SSD. It's got a 256 megabyte SSD that runs my majority of my programs in my operating system, and then I have actually two terabyte drives in it that has all my data, all my photos, all my video, all that kind of stuff running on it. And that's the most cost-effective way to build a fast system, is to divide up those things. But like I just said, the laptop, you can't do that. You choose a drive in most laptops, and that's what you got. There are some higher level laptops that have more than one drive in them that can do the same thing. Okay? So what we're going to do going forward, you guys have already tested hard drives. We haven't really taken in and put out hard drives that much, although we have when we pulled the systems, right? So we're going to do a little bit of hard drive stuff. I'm going to teach you how we image hard drives. And I'm doing it right over there right now. If you look at this system that's going on right here, if we go through the act of doing everything we do on every system, which is reformatting the drive, installing Windows, then installing Office and antivirus, and every single one of the programs that we do, I'm going to say it's at least a 4 to 5 hour process, at least, especially when you start putting updates on it. We go like that system, we'll go and start Windows updates on that multi-point system at 8 in the morning, and we'll be done before we go home at night to get all the updates that have come out from Microsoft, and that's painful. It's extremely painful. And if we had to do that for every single system, that would really stink. Stink's the nicest word I can use for it, okay? So what hard drive imaging does is we build a PC that has a hard drive in it that's perfect, okay? We get everything done on it. We get all the programs, everything installed on it, and we use a program that makes a copy of that hard drive to a file, okay? To what's called an image file, and the thing that we use to do that is called FOG, which stands for Free Open Source Ghost. Ghost is an old program that we used to use that does it, and there's our images. Okay, so this right here is a list of all the images that we have right now. Okay, so this is the image, number 13, it's called FS6500, is the image that you guys have on your laptop. Okay, so if Billy came in and his laptop was messed up, I could take it right over there, plug it into the network, tell it to put this image on it, which takes up, on that hard drive, it takes up 23.67 gig, and this system used to say how much it takes up on the image. It takes up about, for all of these, seem to take up somewhere around 15 gig of hard drive space on our FOG server. But it takes that and makes a file of it, and then I could hook up any other system then and plug it into the network, and it takes that file and puts it on that new system, expands it out, and when I'm all done, I've got the exact same stuff. This process takes, I'm going to say 45 minutes to copy over. This process takes 10 to 15 minutes to copy back, because it doesn't have to do as much for just copying it to the drive. So in the case of the laptops, in about 15 minutes, when we do the imaging process, it rewrites everything on your system. And in the case of what we normally do is like what I just did on that image, I just updated everything. I put all the new Windows updates on it. I put all the updates for the programs, for Java, for Flash, all that stuff is on there. And so when we do image to your machine, there might be a couple updates left. You might have 5 or 6 Windows updates left. But if we keep the image file updated, then when we send it to your PC, it's just like, look, we're done. And then this system, this FOG system right here, it does a number of things when it sends it to it, like, I'm going to list those here. These are all the PCs out there that I could, right now, I could rewipe them from here and reprogram them, which is supposed to happen. Let's see if it's happening right now. This one was supposed to start automatically at 8 o'clock, and it hasn't come on yet for some reason. I don't know why that one has. And when it automatically comes on, it should go and reprogram itself, but it has not started, so I have to go down there and turn that system's on, because for some reason it's still not on, and it will just send, because this one was set to automatically start at 8 o'clock this morning, and it was automatically set to send it. But if I go to this one, this PC in FOG, I can also tell it that I want to, it's going to automatically join the Active Directory. It's one of the service settings over here is automatically rename it. So it comes up it says, oh, I'm not named the right thing, it reboots and names itself, and it says, oh, I'm not part of the Active Directory, it reboots and names itself. So when I do your laptop and I plug it in, I almost would like to redo your guys' laptops next class. Why don't we plan on doing that, so you guys can all see how the process works when we do it on yours. So make sure your stuff is backed up to your H drive for next class. And then next class we'll all do it next week. So this week's for
And tomorrow's a what day?
tomorrow's a white day. Poop. I gotta rethink what we're doing the week after spring break. I'm not putting my math together very well. Dang, that's gonna totally mess stuff up that I wanted to do. There's one more section that we do a research project on, and then we're done with research projects. Well, except for the PC buying project. And that's a short one on video cards. And I am not here the week after spring break. That's my last trip to the Air Force. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to do some flip videos for that week for you to teach you guys about video cards, and then start the research project on video card while I'm off. And I apologize for that. I was thinking that next week was spring break. I was thinking that for some reason I had another week before spring break. So I apologize, and I'm sorry about that. So what I'm going to do, I'm skipping topics because, well, we can still do that next block. So it's still white day. We'll still do that next block, which is tomorrow. So make sure your personal stuff is backed up to your H drive. And tomorrow we'll all re-image our own drives. And I'll show you how easy it is to do that. It'll all have the new software and everything by the end of the block, and all be reprogrammed by the end of the block. So if everybody can remember to do that tomorrow, that'd be great. And I'll make sure I've got the switch set up. And then you guys don't actually use this much this year, but if you're in my tech class next year, you do. Because we don't go and fix, I don't say we don't fix, but we don't fix individual PCs. We don't go up to this student PC and they say Office isn't working. We don't go and waste 2 hours trying to troubleshoot Office. We go, oh, okay, and we refog it and we walk away. And in 20 minutes, Office will work again. And we didn't have to waste a whole bunch of time doing it. Because that's what we used to do. When PCs didn't work, we would spend a whole lot of time troubleshooting stuff, trying to figure out what's wrong. The most we'll do on an individual system, if we've been back, like if Billy goes and reimages this system, and then 3 days later we get a trouble ticket on it again, well, now we're going to suspect that either the hard drive or the memory is bad, because there's some reason it's going bad, right? So we'll go down with the Ultimate Boot CD, we'll test the memory and the hard drive, and if it tests okay, we're just going to image it again and walk away. So, and that's something, I mean, I could even set up a schedule to reimage stuff all the time, too. Because Dylan's here, we're really done already. I don't want to do anything more of that today. So I'm going to break and talk about, let's see, do I even have it set up? I don't even think that I wasn't ready to have even show that section yet, so I don't think it's down there yet. Remember when I close these things to make sure I never reopen for you guys when I say the rubric thing. I don't really, I don't want to move on until we're finished with this one either. So, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do that. We're going to image tomorrow. What? Yeah, we can have Dylan present while we image, because that's a perfect thing to do during the fifth, although we have to make sure Dylan's got his stuff backed up. So we're going to do that. We're going to have Dylan present tomorrow. We're going to image our drives tomorrow. And then what we're going to do is, before we move on to the next section, the day after spring break, I'm going to have you guys do a hard drive review, and then we're going to take the test. I mean, I'm going to videotape a review to make sure there's nothing new, and then have you guys have a 15-minute break. It's not an overly long test, by the way, on hard drives. So the Tuesday after spring break, we're going to do a hard drive review, a break to make sure your notes are up, and then have the test that day. And then we'll start on that following Tuesday. So you won't actually start the project. We'll just have the lesson on that following Thursday. makes sense. That way we're at least closed out on the hard drive chapter before we move on to the next one. Okay? And then I won't be gone again. And this one, by the way, there is no PowerPoint on this one, it's just a blog on this one. So this one's a quick research project. It's about expansion cards, the next chapter. But really the only expansion card that is an issue that people really need to buy are video cards. So you're going to do a blog on a video card. You can read about it. I'm going to go over the different video card parameters and stuff to look into and how to compare video cards. Because if you ever want to build a gaming system, you have the video card is the most important piece together. There's no more important piece or video card control system. Okay, I'm going to hit stop. That's good. Any questions?